Hello, hello, welcome to Siege Budget Brews. I'm Tim, and tonight, continuing our series of $100 tech techs, we're going to go over Tropical Malcolm. But before we get started, please check out our Discord and our Patreon. Links are in the description below. And if you like our content, please go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out a lot. And tonight, I'm joined by my co-host, as usual, Booty. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Man, your hair is like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the light, man. It looks worse at the light.
It
There we go.
Well, so the way the light hit it, it looks like you have like your hair, and then you have like a hair hat on top of it.
Yeah.
It kind of does. So, anyway, all right. Shall we get rolling on the tropical Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right, cool. All right. I don't get tired of it. So, for those of you at home, Tropical Malcolm is a teamer mid-range deck that is headed by Tana the Bloodsower, which is a 2/2 elf warrior or elf druid for 1 green, 1 red, 2 colorless, and has trample. And then whenever Tana the Bloodsower deals combat damage to a player, you make that many saprolines. So at base, it'll make 2 if it deals 2 damage. If you pump it, it'll make how much ever it connects with. And then, but the main reason why we're playing this deck is Malcolm the Keen-Eye Navigator. It's a 2/2 flyer that whenever one or more pirates you control deals damage to an opponent, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage this way. So, Tana's really in here mostly for colors, also for a couple of for an Eldritch Evolution line. But the main target is Malcolm. So what Malcolm allows us to do is to leverage Glint-Horn Buccaneer very effectively. And Glint-Horn Buccaneer is 2 red, 1 colorless for a 2/4 with haste. That whenever you discard a card, Glint-Horn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to each opponent. And it's a pirate Minotaur. So with Malcolm in play, whenever whenever Bucky triggers and it pings each opponent, you'll make a treasure for each opponent that you deal damage to. And then Glint-Horn also has a activated ability of pay 1 red, 1 colorless, discard a card, which will trigger the ping ability. Draw a card, and then you can only activate the ability when Glint-Horn is attacking. So the kind of the baseline how this works is you get Malcolm in play, you attack with the Glint-Horn. Even if you don't have mana in play, Malcolm will deal 1 damage, deal 2 to somebody, you'll get a treasure. Glint-Horn will deal 2 to somebody, and you'll get a treasure. Okay? Then in between combat damage and the end of combat step, there is there's like a little priority pass. Okay? And that's where you can activate Glint-Horn to discard a card and then ping everybody for 3 and then draw a card, and then you just keep drawing and pitching, drawing and pitching, drawing and pitching till everybody's dead. Okay? Sometimes you run into an issue where not all of your opponents are at the same life total, and one opponent may die faster than the others. Generally, you will have enough excess treasures because of the 3 damage you're dealing that you'll be able to continue that chain deeper after one of the opponents is killed. Because basically up until you get to the point where you're at the one opponent, you'll at least be neutral on mana for the most part. So that is something to kind of keep an eye on. Do watch the life totals on everybody and make sure that you get enough excess treasures to kill the last person. Otherwise, you'll kill 2 players and then not be able to kill the third. You know, they'll be hovering at like 3 life or something, and they'll get a couple extra turns. So that is 1. Being a teamer, you get access to the best ramp, you get access to the best interaction, and the best removal that kind of work in at this budget tier. I actually think this is probably the best the best or one of the best $100 decks that like I've played or that I've seen played. I would even probably place it higher than Cody. I know that's a bold statement coming from me, but I think it's really strong. Um, so then you also kind of get these. You have a couple of other like grind engines where you can play like Tandem Lookout on any creature to draw a card. You can play Curiosity Effect on something like the Lightning Rig Crew, and whenever you just tap it, ping everybody for one, draw 3 cards, make 3 treasures if Malcolm's out, and then whenever you cast another pirate, you'll untap. In fact, that is like one of the sleeper all stars on the deck. I will play that and get a Curiosity or Keen Sense on it, like Mickey Tick, just to be able to draw 3 cards a turn cycle on them. You also can do like Reckless Fireweaver, where there's a couple of cards below that I'll talk about in a little bit that will turn Reckless Fireweaver into a pirate. And then you simply put, what happens is that when Malcolm or the Fireweaver pings everybody, artifacts will enter the battlefield from the treasures, thus creating another ping trigger, and will kill the table. Because he'll deal 1 to each opponent, you'll make 3 treasures, thus giving you 3 more triggers, dealing 3 more instances of 1 damage, making more treasures, making more ping. And then the last one is Niv Parun plus any of the Curiosity effects in the deck. Essentially, it's whenever anybody casts a instant or sorcery, you get a draw trigger, and then whenever you draw a card, Niv can deal a damage to any target. So, if you have a Curiosity on Niv and you either attack with Niv, cast an instant or sorcery, one of your opponents cast an instant or sorcery, you can start the chain and just start murdering everything on the board, murdering opponents, pretty much. And then we're running like a pretty robust dork package since we're in Teamer. We've got Arbor Elf, Elvish Mystic, Glint-Horn Elves, Rattleclaw Mystic, Tinderwall. We're also running Simian Spirit Guide just for fast mana. Wall of Roots. Wall of Roots is great because you can play it and it activate it the turn it comes down. But you can also just, it's a pretty decent blocker. Then, we've got like Spellskite to kind of help protect our Niv, protect our Malcolm, our Glint-Horn from spot removal. Siren Stormchaser just kind of as a like another pirate. Facebreaker is kind of another like way to kind of generate mana, but then we can also start converting those treasures into card advantage if we needed to. So like if we have Malcolm out and he just makes a treasure, Facebreaker will also trigger and make a treasure, and then we can sack those to exile the top 2 cards, like the top 2 cards of our library, and then we can play them that turn. So, but the main one is leveraging the Glint-Horn, kind of followed by Niv, and then the Reckless Fireweaver is kind of a backup line because we have to make extra hoops for the Fireweaver. So then like we have a pretty good tutor package. So we have Imperial Recruiter to kind of get us there. Bring to Light. Most of the time, we're only going to be casting it for red, green, blue, and then whatever extra colorless mana we have to go get Glint-Horn or to go get like the Lightning Rig or the Reckless Fireweaver or something like that. We also have Eldritch Evolution, which allows us to convert Tana into Niv, which is nice. Neoform, which will allow us to convert most of our kind of like, we have like some 2-drops that we can convert into like Glint-Horn. We can also convert our dorks into like something a little like the Fireweaver. So there's also a Phantasmal Image as well. So those are some kind of like not so obvious lines. Then we've also got like Solve the Equation just to kind of tutor up an instant or sorcery. And then the last like little bit of combo that we have, like our last like backup combo line, is we have Twin Flame plus Dualcaster Mage to create infinite tutus. Both of those cards are good on their own because we can make like a second Glint-Horn, we can make a second Facebreaker, another Lightning Ray Crew, and then slap another Curiosity on it, whatever. Or we can just make infinite tutus. Also, Dualcaster Mate counts as interaction because you can copy other people's stuff. And then to kind of buy back pieces, we've got Eternal Witness, we've got Regrowth, we've also got a couple of wheels to kind of help us keep our hand full. Not that we need it, because I tend to keep my hand full. We also have a couple more removal pieces like Beast Within. We've got Lightning Bolt. Fiery Cannonade is like a really bomb sweeper in this deck because it keeps your Malcolm alive. We also have like some stack interaction with like Misdirection, Delay, Dispel, Offer, Mana Leak. This is a nice little one. So this is Piracy Charm. So Piracy Charm is 1 blue. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Target creature becomes creature type of your choice, which is like 99% of the time while we're playing it. Generally what we're using is to turn the Fire Weaver into a pirate. Just to kind of, or Niv into a pirate also to like just ping and make treasures. Then we've got Ye Old $100 All-Star, Return to Nature. All 3 modes are great. And then we just got like stuff like Ricochet Trap, Lookout Dispersal, Concerted Defense, because we're running, like, we'll trigger the party. Like, most of the time, this is going to be like a Spell Pierce with upside, essentially. Very rarely is it not. Autumn's Veil for some more protection, Divert for some more protection. Shared Summons is kind of like to round out our tutors. We've got a little bit of Artifact Ramp, not a ton, because we're mostly going to leverage the Dorks and like some ritual mana, but these all tend to like kind of pair out very well, help us curve. And then down here in enchantments, we're actually running, we have a very high density of curiosity effects because I found them to just be so useful in this shell. Like even just slapping them on like the Lightning Ray Crew and then still having another one, an excess one for later for when you're going to combo. But like we have Curiosity, Keen Sense, Ophidian Eye, and then we also have Snake Umbra, which one of the bonuses with Snake Umbra is that you get Totem Armor. So even if they try to kill whatever it is, like that gets destroyed instead. We're running 30 lands, kind of nothing super special down here. It's mostly just like we're running a little bit of fast mana in the lands, like Crystal Vein and I'm not even gonna pretend I can pronounce that, the Scurry. But so while the deck doesn't like have a ton of spice, it is really, really effective. And Teamer, like at this budget, Teamer I've been finding really overperforms because you just have such good ramp, such good removal, and like the mana fixing's great. It just kind of does everything you need it to do. Like for me, Teamer is like what cEDH would call, like it's like the equivalent of cEDH Grixis, like Grixis Core.
Yeah.
Like playing a Teamer Core at this budget is that powerful.
Yep.
While you don't have Consult Oracle to close out your game, I think that you get a lot of tools that you just don't get otherwise. So, any questions?
Nope. I did want to piggyback off of what you just said, though, with Teamer being kind of an extremely powerful core in hyper budget. A lot of that also comes down to it's not overstuffed. Because what I found a lot of times whenever I try playing 4 or 5 color decks is that there's too much that it has to go into diversity in the deck, and therefore that slogs it down.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I mean, I would say this is true personally in cEDH as well, is that, like, 3 is kind of the perfect colors. Like, 3 is kind of the perfect amount of colors in that there's not too much you need outside of it, and...
I don't 100% agree with that in budget lists, but, like, definitely once you start getting down to, like, this level or like 500, 750, like, 3 color is optimal.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I know that you and I have kind of talked about this deck to death. I just wanted
Yeah,
to make sure that we did a video on it because it's that good. Um,
absolutely. Also, I've been playing this deck since Malcolm was first released, so I didn't
mhm.
have like Reckless Fire Reaver, Professional Brace Breaker, or anything like that. And even then, it was still extremely consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was just so fast to get out. Just like, oh yeah, I get out my Malcolm, I get out my Glint-Horn, I win.
Well, or even if you're not, like, you're just like, oh, let me just flood the board with 1/1s off Tana and then Toski everybody, like, for 3 turns. Or nobody tries to kill the O5 like the Lightning Rig crew because it's an X5, so any kind of damage-based removal is really hard to throw at it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm just going to slap a Curiosity on it and draw 3 cards and make a bunch of treasures. And
Actually, because I didn't have Lightning Recruit, I had Electrostatic Field, I think it's called.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
I did that, and I remember one of the games I had, I threw Tandem Lookout on it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would cast an instant or sorcery, do 3 damage, and draw 3 cards. And my friends are just like, "Oh, you're gonna win," and I was like, "No, no, no, you don't understand. I'm out of gas."
I am now till
Yeah,
you let me draw like 9 cards, and then I'm not, right? So,
exactly.
all right. Well, I think that like Eco's been helping me with it because he plays Tamer Pirates. I've been playing it in budgetless as well. Uh, and between the two of us, I think we've made like a really tight list. So I just want to make sure I shouted out my boy. He's been helping me with it. Um, so all right. Thanks again for joining me, and everybody have a good night. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.